had to do some stuff this morning, but now I'm out here to put these fluids in. I got the battery charged up. I had to run and get a pipe nipple while I was uptown. I guess it's called a half by 5, and then a cap to go on it. It's not going to have the wings on like the international one, but this should work. I'll put some plumbing tape on it or some pipe dope and screw it up in there, and then maybe I'll tighten this part over on the bench. So I'm going to get those two things in. I was thinking this is sat for 20 years almost, so maybe I should flush out the radiator before I put that plug in. Or maybe I could put the pipe in but not put the plug on it and then flush it out and see if I can keep some pail under it to keep having a plug in here. Well, the good thing is I pick all the wrenches up, the missing socket's back. Because water's going to go all over when I'm flushing the radiator out. I don't want to make tools get rusty. I was using this tiny little Sentry charger because it's got a 6-volt right on this side, and the needle did go up into the middle and then come back down a ways, so I'm taking it the battery's good. I didn't go get my volt tester. Kept the battery in the house the last couple of winters. I was going to get this going about 3 years ago, so I bought a new battery, and I think I charged it a couple times, but every time I leave them out in the tractors in Wisconsin in the winter, it takes out some batteries. So maybe this might still be good. Okay, well, I put a little pipe dope on here, and I'm going to go down here and put this on and then flush it. Flush out just as much whether there's pipes in or not. Well, that's not good. The longer pipe that I used for a sample to go to the store is long enough so that I could hold it with a pipe wrench when I tighten the cap up, but this one's not. So what could I do here? Just leave this in loose till I put the cap on it, and then they'll kind of both tighten together. Okay, just to get this done, I'll do it. I wanted to put one in the bench and the vise to tighten one up, but it's tight. That'll work good enough just to rinse it out. Then when I put the cap on there, the cap sticks out flush. I could have used the next size up nipple, but then it would stick out further by the front tires and maybe something would catch. It probably wouldn't have, because then when I take the plug off, I could have held that with a pipe wrench, but it's also fine with the whole thing coming out of the radiator, the nipple and the cap, and that's how it'll be. So I've got this wet shop vac. Put that underneath it. Gonna put that underneath it there, and if you see this seat all the time I lay on, instead of laying on a piece of carpet or anything, I lay on this seat. Came out of a 95 grand 3-back seat. Works pretty good. So I used to lay on a piece of cardboard, but here when I got all this room, there's no reason to lay on a piece of cardboard. I can lay on something this thick and it isn't going to matter, so why not? Okay, well, I'm gonna get my wife to turn the hose on and turn it off so I get less water all over here, and when I come back, it should be rinsed out. Well, it's hitting the bucket just perfect. Okay, that ought to be enough. I don't see any dirt coming out. Well, it's about done draining. The other thing I could do is put the cap on now. Put a little pipe dope on there, put the cap on, tighten it up with the pipe wrench. And then fill it up with water, and I could see if the radiator's any good, so I wouldn't have to have antifreeze going all over. But I'm just gonna hope it doesn't leak, so if it doesn't leak, then I got the water, the coolant in there. Move this along here. Guess I'll take a pipe wrench down there and a vice grip with a curved jaw. Use one of the two. Get this thing buttoned up. And the cap and the pipe dope and a rag. Okay, down we go. Suppose I could preset the vice grip to the cap in case I use it. About there. Okay. Like the messiest stuff in the world. The only thing messier is anti-seize, the silver stuff. How'd I do? This is all over me. I take that back. Never seize as much messier. I just use the vice grips for first couple tightens. I'm just glad the piece up there by the bottom of the radiator there in that casting, I'm just glad it's in good shape. It looked pretty bad. I thought it was way too rusty to ever hold a pipe. But it's not on there yet, is it? Try to pull it back the other way. That seems good. Okay. I forgot about this until last night or this morning. I said, oh, the plug, wet plug. Alright. I think it came with no plug. Because somebody else had drained the antifreeze in the engine oil. So, now I got these for my coolant. It's the concentrated kind, and this for the oil. And it says 5 quarts in the pan. I think I'll put in about 3/4 of that. Then just check it with the things in the oil pan. I'll have one of these sitting under the tractor just in case a frost plug is out or something isn't sealing. Heck, why didn't I ever see this before? It says coolant right here. It says coolant ratio 60/40. It says it's like 60 62 Fahrenheit below. 50-50 is 34 Fahrenheit below, and 40-60 is not good for around here at 12 below. So it has to either be 50-50 or 60-40. So I don't want to have any trouble, so I'll either do 50-50 or make it just a little more than that. I'm thinking just to save time, I could mix in the tractor. I think it said somewhere it takes about 2.5 gallons, so I should be able to put one of these in and then about a 3/4 jug of water. So let's try that. Anything leaking out? No gushers? Okay. The bottom hose on this side looked like it has a little stain by it, but it's not green. Is it even going to take this jug? Maybe some of that water I was splashing it out with, that's why I really didn't want to do that, but it did get a little straw or some kind of grass stuff out of it. That could have put water in it. Did it go down now or not? Yeah, it's just something hanging up on the top of the cooling fins. Let's see. So if I put water in here to flush it out, yeah, some of that could have went in the block. So I better at least get another half of one of these in then. I'm going to have to go in and run and look at the book to see how much coolant it takes again, just in case some water's already went in there. The book said the system takes almost 3.5 gallons, so 3.3 or whatever, so 1.5 of these and 1.5 would be 50-50. I'm at least going to put 3/4 of this in if I can. I think some water had went into the block when I was trying to flush it out. So if water didn't go in the block when I was flushing it out, then I could add even both these and still get another 1.25 gallons in there, or 1.33 gallons of water to dilute it. All right, I was able to put her in. Got a tiny little bit left, so if it takes, let's say it takes 3.5 to round it off total, and I put 2 of these in, then it would be 1.5 of water, but it really isn't 3.5, it's a little less. So I would only probably be able to get 1 of these in water. That's a little heavier than I think you need it, so maybe I'll save this a little bit for now, and I'm just going to add 1 jug of water right now. Except I don't have one filled. I gotta go fill. Okay, here's the 3rd gallon, only it's all water. to have any splash, because then I'll think it's a leak on the floor. Yeah, it takes what it says in the book. This would be 3 gallons. So it's obviously filling up the block. Okay, there we go. 3 gallons in it. That's good. I think it's leaking. Okay, it's up there. Oh, it's that rough inlet that I didn't put any sealant on. No, it's not that. Or is it? It could just be the top radiator hose. Yes, yes. That'd be a blessing. Well, it's not going to go any tighter than that. Tightening it doesn't work. At that point, I should have just started pulling the hood and the radiator. Well, I'll put it on pause here while I try to figure it out, because I can't quite tell. It could just have a crack in this, it could just have a crack in this housing. No, it's not that. There's a little drip right there, but that's not doing the gushing. Let me go around the other side. Well, it's still the same thing looking on this side. You just see water dripping off the bottom of that casting that puts the water into the head. I mean, if this had a water pump, I'd say the water pump's leaking. It makes it look like the casting's leaking, but it's not. It's all coming out of the top radiator hose. I think eventually here I realized that. I just can't tell. At least it's only leaking water, because I put the water in last. So therefore it's only leaking water, because it's the top part leaking here, and the last thing that went in was water. So well, I can't do anything with this camera, so I got to dig into it here. What I've decided is this top radiator hose, I say it was on correctly, so there's either rust in behind here, or this, I didn't have this casting off, so I've never looked in here. It's either there's rust in behind there, or the casting has a crack in it. So that's pretty good. It's nothing to do with the engine anywhere, and everything's holding. It's just this casting. The worst, I'd have to get a new one of those. And it's not leaking between the engine where I put the gasket. It's between this radiator hose. So hopefully it's just some rust in there. and I'll know pretty soon here. I'm going to take this brace off again that I did for the governor, and I'm going to take the only way I can get this hose off, either I have to lift up on the radiator or I have to take off this casting. So I'm going to do one of those two and then get to the bottom of this. Yes, it looks like some rust under there. I would have pulled this whole housing off had I not had antifreeze starting to come out of the block that was mixed. That means it was pure antifreeze. I'd only had water leaking because I put that last gallon in. And so then I pulled back on this, and look at, I was able to get it up where I can sand it. So, I don't know what it's, I don't know how the bottom's bolted here. I'm looking now. Oh, it's got rubber mounts on the bottom, one on each side with a big, decent sized bolt. At least a half-inch bolt or something. And it's got those square pieces of rubber. So I'm stretching the rubber in the bottom radiator hose. And the bottom one kind of leaked a little bit too. I imagine I should sand all the metal. But let's get this one first. And then see if it even seals. I gotta get something to hold that back. Well, I can't find anything to hold it back. It's probably just gonna wreck my emery cloth because it's gonna be wet. So I guess we'll act like it's wet sanding. Do I think this is really gonna fix it? I really don't know. Let me feel the pitting. Okay, so most of the pitting was up to where the radiator hose, and I think the radiator hose was barely touching. So if I can get down onto some good stuff, that was never rusted, then probably I can seal it up. So that's what I'm going to do. He knows he's on camera. He's got to get away. Well, I sanded the top pipe after I put the hose as low as I could get it and painted it. That should make it stick better. And now I'm trying to even them out. This time putting the lower hose lower to get over the pits, so I can get onto some solid metal. And I don't think the top was in that kind of shape. So, and then I'm going to try to tighten them up again. So in this case, a longer hose would be beneficial. Okay, it's a new day. Good morning. And I've decided I wanted to get, if they sold these radiator hoses in a long one where you cut them off yourself, then I would have them cut the top hose about 1.25 inches longer. That way I could get onto some of the fresh parts of the casting that aren't pitted, and then double clamp them. But unfortunately, when I was checking the sizes, it looks like the top hose is 2-inch inside. No, that's the lower hose. The lower hose is a normal one, 2-inch inside, but the bottom one is not normal.
It's the top one.
2.375 on the inside.
Top one.
So therefore, I don't think they're going to have that in just a long bulk length where they cut them. It's possible. I'm getting ready to call them. As soon as it's after 8 o'clock, I can call the international dealer. But if they buy them all cut, or if they don't even stock them at all, it isn't going to do me any good. But the top hose is the one I definitely want longer by 1.25 inches. The bottom one
It's 2
I
inches.
just about do the same thing, at least be 1 inch longer, so I'd have a 1/2 inch more on each side to overlap it. And then I might as well get the air cleaner hose and actually pull that off for a third time. That's supposedly 1.5 on the inside, so that one would be normal. So the carburetor hose would be normal, 1.5. The lower hose would be normal, 2 inch. It's just that top hose, and of course it's the top one that I had all the trouble with it gushing out of. So of course the top one is the irregular size. It's between 2 1/4 and 2 1/2, kind of halfway in between.
It's 2 3/8. 2 3/8.
Pull the radiator out. Doesn't seem very hard. I just got to retake off that brace that I've had off, the top brace that I've had off. I don't know how many times, or at least pull the 4 bolts out of the radiator and take off the 2 radiator hose clamps on each end and pull this off, and then I can clean up any rust a lot better. I got the top rust cleaned up, but I really want the longer hose, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get it. That's where I'm at. So the next time you see it, the radiator should be off and back on, and I might have new hoses longer if I have it my way, or I'm still taking it off because the bottom one seems pretty. There's no way you can get it off without taking the radiator out. So no matter what, the radiator's coming off, and the bottom hose, I'm going to get the rust out of there at least. And if I get the rust out of there, I might as well paint the housing. That would make it seal better. And just put them back on with no rust in it, and double clamp them if there's room, which there probably won't be. All right, that's what I'm going to do this morning. Well, I'm looking for the wrench to take out the 2 bolts. One on that side, one on that side. On the bottom, it's definitely not 3/4, not 11/16, so it's 5/8, but I have now found 4 11/16 wrenches. No 5/8. Isn't that the way it is every time you look for one? You find multiple of one and not the one you're looking for. So I'll find that wrench, I'll get that out and get to the store and get back. So then I go to the other side to get the other bolt, and it's 11/16. So I got 5/8 on that side, 11/16 wrench on this side. So I guess the radiator's been out before. And the studs go all the way down where you can't even get the nuts off. They're long studs on there. I don't know what that means. So that means I can't pull the radiator forward to get them out of the radiator hoses like I want to, because the studs will still be in there. And as far as I can see, the studs are mounted to something, and they will never turn on you. But you can't push the bolt up to get it out of the way, to pull it out of the lower radiator hose. So I'll have to get the lower radiator hose and get it shoved back. Maybe that's why they don't make them full length.
Yep.
So maybe I won't be able to do that, but I'll find out, because if I can, I'm going to get them longer so I can get double clamps on them. I don't want to have this, park my tractor and have it leaking antifreeze all the time just from stupid hoses. Nobody would. All right. Oh well, I might as well shoot a little footage with the radiator out. I've got the radiator out on the bench, and the top part of the radiator is the cast steel iron. And I've sanded that and painted it where I used the wire brush on the angle head. This one I can't get to with the angle head. And then I'm going to put some paint on it, figuring probably was painted from the factory before they put the hose on it. Then I got to run up and get the new hoses. dust really piled up, so I'll do it again, see if any more piles up. A little bit. That's good, so now I'll just spray some paint on it. I guess the bottom I'll have to use a paintbrush. I gotta get going to the store. I guess I could mention, it turned out to be the bolts that went through the mounts on each side for the radiator on the bottom. The reason they were a different size wrench is there's a slot. And there's a slot, and the carriage bolt slides in like that, and so those are changeable. And the length that was in there was probably not the factory length. Somebody had slid in their carriage bolts. So somebody actually has a coarse thread one on this side with a different size wrench, and a fine thread one on this side with a different size wrench. So that's why those were odd. And this one has two cast things in the top of the radiator there. You see the one I painted on the bottom and the top. See, the top hose has two cast things. It has a cast iron thing on the engine, and it has one on the radiator also, so I painted both those. Here it has a cast, on the bottom it has a cast iron one. On the bottom there it has a cast iron one. But on the radiator, it's copper or whatever the radiator's made out of, tin. And so there's no painting to that one. There is no corrosion. It looked like somebody hammered it in a little, and I was worried about it being out of round. But so I just got to get the carburetor or the air cleaner off again, because I'm going to put a new hose in there too. So I'm going to pick up 3 hoses. This hose on top.
2 3/8.
The hose on top, I'm picking up 1 1/4 inches longer. This one on the bottom, down here, I'm picking up 1 inch longer.
That's the
I
plan.
can always trim a little bit off, but to take a tiny little bit off would be kind of tough. But the only way I do it is if when I'm pushing them in, I can't get them all the way in and then get these mounting bolts in. So 1 1/4 inches longer, inch longer in the carburetor Donaldson air cleaner hose. That's 1 1/2 inches. I'm going to get the exact same size. I think that's 1 1/2 inches inside. This top one.
2 3/8.
I now know.
2 and 3.
Weird fraction.
2 3/8.
Weird fraction was. It's 2 3/8. They said at International. 2 3/8. Bottom one 2 inches inside. This one 2 3/8. The carburetor one 1 1/2 inches. I think that's correct. And I guess you kind of got to know that if you're going for hoses. Unless you're going to order them from Steiner on the internet or something, then I suppose you don't. Hey, I got back with the parts, and I went to the dentist, so trying to talk with some gauze in my mouth. I got to change every hour. So the top one, I did make the hose let's see, this one says top, so top, so I made it that much longer, and this one I made that much longer. I figure I made the width of 2 of these clamps longer, and of course the Donaldson air cleaner one has to be just exactly the same. So now I'm gonna put these things on, and I'm gonna double clamp those hoses, and I might wire brush and paint the fan so I can get all dusty, of course, that's why. There's not much left in either of these 2 cans I'm gonna use, but I won't finish them up.
Rattle can. I hear it rattling.
This one's not working. Plugged up or what, I don't know. There she goes. Okay, the fan is red now. I'm lining up all my clamps to double clamp them. I just had to decide which way to face them. Like this, so they can slip back, or flip it around the other way so they slip around the bottom when they go too far and you can't get at the tightening spot. So far I'm going with the top. Now I'm load nose up. I got to put 4 on. Looks like I got 3 on there. The bottom's already got 4. And then to see if I can actually get it together with these longer hoses so I can double clamp them. I sure hope it works. I came up with this yesterday when I seen all the corrosion pits. And I went to International. They only had the top 2 3/8. So then I went to an Alice Chalmers dealer, and they had the other 2. That one, and the new one that I now got on the carburetor. Not the, there it is, that's my new one. I figure if you're going to do all that for an engine, you might as well put a new hose on there to keep the engine clean. Okay, back to installing the radiator. Okay, now the top one isn't going to be a problem because it's not near these bolts. There's a good picture of it. It's not near these bolts that have to go in that hole there. So, since these can't slide up in there and then just move it over and then let them drop down or put them in later, they have to stay fully extended, which makes it tough to put an extra inch on the radiator hose. So right here where it is, I have to stretch that up and get it to catch that top lip. So it will come up a little when I lift it up that other inch to get it over the mount and the hole. Can I do it? If not, the top one is definitely going to stay 1.25 inches longer because that's the one that was gushing out. And if I have to, I'll cut maybe half of the, I put 1 inch extra, I cut maybe half. I'll cut maybe half of it out so that I can try to get that bolt in a lot easier.
If I have to.
Back to work. Okay, there's a picture of it all stretched up. The bolts through the rubber, it's resting, ready to drop in the hole. And look, I've got the hose to stretch up. I put a tire iron under here. Now, when I seen that the bottom thing was a little out of round, now I know why. Somebody pried on it like I'm doing, only I didn't bend anything, but they did. So they were obviously trying to do something like what I'm doing, only they were using 1 inch shorter hoses, the correct ones. So why they had a problem, I don't know. Well, I'm going to shut this off. It looks like it's going to drop in. I'm almost positive it's going to. It seems like, what size was that now? It's an 11/32. 11/32 seems to turn these radiator clamps, the bigger ones. So that's forced down all the way. I guess I didn't really, I put a line on everything else where the end of the casting would be, so I know, so I don't double clamp empty space. But well, at least it works good enough to suck them in to where the slack's at. And when you double clamp, it looks like you can't put them both next to each other. Looks like this part you tighten up takes up more room. So maybe I'll come over to this side to do the other part of it.
But I do end up putting
Let's see what that would hurt.
some next to each other.
No, I don't like that. Well, I'm gonna somehow or another get them clamped and I'll turn it back on. I don't know, maybe this socket that I said to use, size 11/32. It seemed like, yeah, stop using it before you're even totally snugged up, because when I tried to actually tighten it a little, it derailed the clamp where it started making it go crooked and down. And I don't need to have problems with the clamp slipping or breaking, because then I have to take all this apart again. So, use a screwdriver. Okay, I got the radiator in with the little extra long hoses there, 1 inch longer up on the bottom and 1.25 inches on top. Yeah, the only nut that really made feel like I was twisting something when I pulled it in was this one. This one I had to really pull in to even get it started. Obviously because I put the longer hoses on. But it pulled in and I don't think I twisted anything with the radiator. Those two are tight. Those two are tight. Those two are tight. Those two are tight. And the fan doesn't hit. There's the blade coming around with all the double clamps, so it is further over where the blade is, but there's a ½ inch in there. It doesn't hit. See? So now I just got to find one of these lower bolts that I lost when I had the radiator out on the table sanding the cast housing with the angle wire brush. I must have not. I took these out on the table and one must have rolled on the ground. So I either go to the hardware store or I find it. All right. Well. Yeah, I push the lawnmower in and out every day. But it hasn't rained in weeks, so I don't know why I would. I do have a tarp that I could put over it. That's the tarp that used to be over this tractor for years and years. So anyway, now I got to put the antifreeze back in. Put the antifreeze back in. And put the hood back on. And wait for it to leak again. No, it's not going to leak. Well, with those longer hoses and the double clamps, the hood getting that brace that I said pulled in a little hard. That brace that I said pulled in a little hard seemed like it made the hood go on harder. I didn't have any trouble starting the bottom bolt. Now I think I stripped it a little. But hood's on tight. Time to put the antifreeze back in and see if it's going to leak out again. With all the hoses double clamped. The plug is back in. Yeah, I suppose I could put this under there. I hate messing.
But it's not going to leak. So I didn't have to.
Nothing should come out after I did all this work. Good thing.
Good think.
Yeah, the whole time I've worked on this, it hasn't rained. I don't think it's rained for a month in this section of Wisconsin. So when I get out there to try the cultivator, when I get that back on, I would think that I'm going to have dry dirt the way it's been going. Sometimes they say a chance of rain, but all we get is the smoke from Canada. First time I ever seen that in Wisconsin. I lived in LA once, where I seen it on the way to work. You'd have ashes on your windshield, like it's raining. But here, you even see that. I thought somebody was having a campfire. Here was smoke out there, lingering, like somebody was having a campfire next door. Never seen that. Okay, I better stop and look a little. This time I don't hear anything, but don't mean it still can't leak. That was just my idea to stop it. New hoses, make them longer and double clamp them. Okay, those two are back in. The third one stayed in the block, I think. So let's see if it's back up to where it was, or at least close. No, it's not. I would think I could just add some water with 2 gallons of antifreeze in. But next I gotta put in the oil. Okay, after all that work cleaning the gas tank, time to put some gas in. I think I got the bowl shut off. I'm gonna leave it shut off for now. what I said earlier when I was cleaning the tank. All the way in would be closed. Oh, is it leaking? Come on. How did I have that tight? Okay, in case this gas tank leaks or something. Yeah, that's good for now. I've certainly never used the gas tank. Let's see. See if at least put a little bit in. Nah, I'll put some more in. Yeah, it's up part way. Hopefully when I painted this, I didn't plug up the hole. I don't know how you would tell. And then if it's plugged up, or the gas won't flow. I'll just leave it kind of loose for now. Okay, we got gas, got antifreeze. I think before I put the oil in, I'm going to go down and pull the drain plug to make sure that antifreeze stayed in there where I put those O-rings from the sleeves to make sure none's getting in the crankcase. But I'll probably be turning this back on, saying it's fine, the oil's in. Okay, it's oil time. I went under there and pulled the drain plug in the oil pan. Only thing that came out was some fresh oil I was using to lube stuff up as I was putting it back together. That was stored in the oil pan that dripped down there. So I got these things open a little bit. Maybe I'll open them more. Maybe I'll open them all the way. So I can make a mess on my piece of cardboard. Well, it doesn't feel plump full, but it says 5 quarts. I want to put in 4. Finally, the oil. And I checked that antifreeze. I listened. It's all quiet around here. And, I'm not near town. It's quiet. All you hear is the birds or something. And there's absolutely nothing dripping. And I don't see any wet stuff. And the gasoline held. Of course, it's only the gas tank because I got it shut off. Okay, let's see if anybody drips out. I hate to have to crack that thing to the plug to take some back out. I hope the what do they call those pit cocks or drain? I hope they're not plugged out. Nothing came out of either when I put in about 4 quarts. That's odd. I guess I could put all 5 in. Are those things plugged up? I sure wish they had a dipstick. So, what to do? I'll put all 5 in. Maybe they were already open and I closed them. No. Move them around a little here. They turn out when you open them, I imagine. There we go. Some's coming out of the lower one. Okay. Shut that. Let me wrap it with a back of a monkey wrench. Clean up what's dripped all over. I guess it takes a while to get down here. What about the other one? Is that going to drip pretty soon too? I don't know. I guess I could pour the rest in, see if that would change things. That would mean the pan takes 5 quarts. I tipped the rest up. I got a feeling it's gonna drip there pretty soon. Well, it isn't right now. Yeah, there it is. So, it takes a while to get down there. Let me, get that one shut and wrap it with a monkey wrench handle. Okay, we got oil. Except for this air cleaner thing. I almost forgot that. Takes a pint or something. Let me find some. Oh, I could put the used oil that came out of here. Yeah, I can put a pint of that. Let me tie this gas filter and hose out of the way. Okay, let's get getting this thing right there, getting some oil on. Okay, I brought the oil over. I wrote good used. I put clean used oil because I put it in the tractor, never ran it, so that would have to be pretty clean. Well, I filled it up to line. Right there. Pretty much puts it even inside with the divider. That weird divider in there, that circle. So, my dad's always changed these things. Us kids never did. My older brother might have, but I never did. Might have done some tractor oil changes when I was 14, 15, and 16, but I left home when I was 17 in October. My birthday was in July, so I wasn't around much after 17. I signed up for Vietnam in 1970. Yeah, 1970. Because I would have graduated in 72. The draft was still going. I was just thinking, like other people, you don't think. I just joined up. It might have been 71, or it might have been 72, because when I got out of AIT, everybody else that I was with did go to Vietnam, or at least some of them. And I, being a little bit of mechanical ability from working for my dad on his farm all summers and after school, learning stuff from my older brother Tom, and so by the time I got out of AIT that they put me through for hydraulics for tanks or something, by the time my 3 months was up for AIT, the people that went over there, the war ended. I never had to go. I was home on leave, telling everybody I was going to go, and they said, "You poor guy," and all that. And then I went back to Texas to go, and it happened to end the day I was going to leave. How's that? What are they called? There's a word for it, but so now I'm still alive to work on the sea and get it running. Well, it's got oil, it's got water, it's got gas. I guess there's nothing stopping me from trying it. I put the battery in yesterday, so there's just nothing stopping me from trying it. But I got to turn the gas on and see if that leaks now. I'll point this at the carburetor a little. Turning the gas on, we'll see if it's going to gush. I know one thing, I got a short in the system because when I put the battery cable on, you see sparks, and I got the key off. If it don't start, then I'm going to check with a screwdriver by pulling the cap and see if there's spark at the points. And I don't know how I got the linkage hooked up. I don't want it to razz up right away. Although I do want oil pressure, so I'll put the flashlight by the oil pressure gauge. Looks like the glass is cracked on the oil pressure gauge, but that shouldn't stop it from working. Okay, so turn on the gas. I reached in before with no problem. There it is. So, but now I'm forgetting which way the gas is on. So what would you do then? You put it in the middle, half in, half. I'm gonna go all the way out. I wonder if anything dripped over here. Well, at least that's not a gusher like the radiator was. It's not a see-through thing, so suppose I can untie this thing. I gotta put the cable on, make sure it's out of gear. Because it's drawing current, so I take it off every time. And I don't know if the starter's even gonna work. It wasn't ever my tractor. Somebody else's.
Until I told my wife to bid on it on eBay while I was driving truck.
It's a new show. Acts like the battery's dead. So maybe this battery ain't any good anymore.
So it's going over an hour.
I'll try to crank them.
I couldn't crank it worth a darn because I think I wrecked the crank thing a little when I was trying to unlock the motor. So I'm going to cut this video now. I'm going to try to get it going today.